We have more stories for you on Network Africa. Still ahead. The Nigerian government signs a 3-year intellectual property rights agreement with a UK-based commercialization group. That's on our Africa Tech. Please stay with us. Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. The Nigerian government has signed a 3-year intellectual property rights agreement with a UK-based commercialization group. And it's to create a marketplace where Nigerians can sell their intellectual property rights and receive royalties. Well, this agreement would allow Nigeria to develop a platform for creators to commercialize registered intellectual property rights and sell or exchange those rights internationally. Well, joining us now is Beverley Agbakoba Onyejianya, Head of Tech Law Practice at the Olisa Agbakoba Legal. She joins us virtually from Lekki. Hello. Thank you so much, Beverley, for speaking to us on Africa Tech.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, for the benefit of those that might not know, can you give us an insight into what intellectual property rights are?
Okay, so in a nutshell, intellectual property rights are those rights that are attached to creations of the mind. So for instance, a songwriter who writes songs, an author who writes books, a designer who creates new designs, an inventor. The actual physical creations have rights attached to them. And those rights allow inventors, creators, enjoy economic benefit, and also you have the benefit of being associated with those inventions and creations, and those rights effectively are what give you the opportunity to monetize and earn a good living from your work.
Now that the Nigerian government, has signed this 3-year agreement, how can Nigerian creators take advantage of the law to be able to protect their intellectual property?
Okay, so currently as it stands now, I think it's a definite lack of awareness, which is why many creators, inventors, content developers, you name it, are not aware that they can enjoy a significant benefit from their work. So what you have is a situation where inventors, etc., are sitting on a gold mine. We're creating every day. Nigeria is home to one of the most talented people on the planet, on the face of the earth. And, people are not doing enough to monetize their work. And how can you do this? For instance, it's important to mention that with copyright, for instance, that right is automatic. If you write a book today, as long as you don't plagiarize, the copyright belongs to you automatically. You have the right to be associated with that book. There's certain other rights that are not automatic. For instance, trademarks, you have to register in order to protect yourself. I'm sure many of us are familiar with all the news coming out in the media about people who find out that other people are suddenly using their trademarks and making an economic benefit from them. So it's important that people know not all intellectual property rights are automatic. You need to register your rights, for instance, trademarks, patents, industrial designs, if you want to monetize from them. So it's critical that I get that point clear.
Well, do you see this agreement between the Nigerian government and the UK group, beneficial to Nigerian creators, and why?
It's a positive development. It's positive. It's important that people realize that there's so many different marketplaces that currently exist. So this one is an addition to what's already out there. I think the issue is lack of awareness, and I'm happy that we're discussing this on this show. So yes, if the Nigerian government is setting up this digital marketplace to encourage sellers of their IPR to meet with people who want to buy it, then by all means, it's a great idea. But certain things have to be checked. Due diligence, making sure the right owners are selling, because it will be a disaster if people who don't have the right to those intellectual property are selling, and innocent third parties end up buying these rights, and they realize that they had no rights in the first place to sell. So due diligence is very, very important when you are transacting with intellectual property rights. But as you know, we're living in the most buoyant. Many people are now putting their manuscripts on international streaming platforms. You all know that there's top streaming platforms operating now in Nigeria, globally. We're seeing more and more Nigerian filmmakers getting their work on an international platform. We're seeing more and more Nigerian authors come to the global literary platform. So we do have these transactions happening already, but the benefit of this marketplace is that it will give more access to more creatives, to more authors, to more inventors, because it can be quite difficult sometimes finding buyers interested in your work. So yes, in theory, it's a very good idea, but of course, I have limited information on it, so that's the limit to what I can say about it.
All right, Beverley, just finally, we understand that this IP platform would be built using blockchain technology and digital tokens. But does this, support the government's position on digital assets, especially cryptocurrency?
Okay, so blockchain technology is a technology in itself, and it should not be confused or used interchangeably with cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is not banned in Nigeria, just to be clear. It's the conduits, the payment conduits by all our commercial banks, financial systems. They are banned from participating in those cryptocurrency transactions. Blockchain technology simply refers to being able to store data on a platform that prevents it from being changed. So it preserves the ownership trail. So even if you change the data as it moves through the blockchain, you will be able to identify the original owner, and that's the beauty of blockchain technology. It preserves, although anonymity is granted. No, but besides that, it protects the original owner. And intellectual property is concerned with ownership. The issues we have now is a lot of people say that the intellectual property gets stolen. It's appropriated, as another word that we hear often in places like the United States. So the idea of using a blockchain technology as a means of storing IP is actually fantastic and very progressive. It will definitely help to secure the rights of content creators, developers, because the problem is sometimes it can be difficult to prove who did what, especially when it comes to things like, say, visual arts that end up getting copied over and over again, or perhaps digital designs, things like that. So it's progressive. We all want to see how it's going to work. It's a new initiative, and we're all quite excited, especially us in the intellectual property industry, to see how this is actually going to play out. But it's a signal that things are changing. It's a signal that intellectual property rights are being taken far more seriously, and that is very positive for our economy and for the players in the economy as well.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Beverley Agbakoba Onyejianya, head of the tech law practice at the Olisa Agbakoba Legal. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.